UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson fighting in a general election that he called for, as he doesn't have a majority in Parliament, which he needs to be able to push through his Brexit agenda.
I don't want an election in December, and under normal circumstances nobody does. We have to clear this parliamentary blockage.
Johnson's bet is that calling an election is the only way to end a 3-year deadlock and allow the UK to leave the EU by January 31st.
It will be something that clears our arteries, it will unblock our system, it will get us back on our feet.
But calling an election is a big gamble, one which, win or lose, could see him go down in history. If he wins, he could become known as the Prime Minister who finally took the UK out of the European Union. But if he loses, his 4.5-month tenure would make him the shortest-serving Prime Minister in almost 2 centuries.
Good afternoon.
Johnson has made other political bets since he became Prime Minister, with mixed results. Upon taking office in July, he bet that he could get the EU to reopen negotiations surrounding the withdrawal agreement, arranged by his predecessor, Theresa May.
The withdrawal agreement is dead, it's got to go. But there is scope to do a new deal.
Many said it couldn't be done.
There will be no further interpretation of the interpretations and no further assurances on the reassurances.
But his bet paid off. Europe agreed to renegotiate the terms of its divorce deal with Britain.
We have a deal.
He also promised he'd deliver Brexit, deal or no deal, do or die, by
October the 31st. On October the 31st. October the 31st. On October the 31st. No ifs or buts.
Can you make a promise today to the British public that you will not go back to Brussels and ask for another delay to Brexit?
Yes.
And sorry.
I can.
And would you
I'd rather be dead in a ditch.
But come October, his plan was shot down by Parliament, and he was forced to request an extension to the Brexit deadline.
Mr. Speaker, I must express my disappointment that the House has again voted for delay.
Johnson's make-or-break approach has also cost him his majority in the House. The Prime Minister threatened to expel members of his own party who would vote against him and in favour of a law to prevent a no-deal Brexit.
Conservatives sitting on the back benches that are prepared to put our national interest before party interests are going to be forced out their party.
Johnson's plan backfired. Despite his warnings, 21 members of his party voted against him, and Johnson expelled them.
I do not regret putting my job on the line to save my constituents' jobs. I do regret that the Prime Minister forced me to do it.
So Johnson is now trying to rebuild that majority.
One of the most important reasons for voting Conservative and to help us to get a working majority is that we can get Brexit done now.
His campaign message? Only once Britain leaves the EU can it build new trade ties with countries like the US. That's something his main rival, the Labour Party's Jeremy Corbyn, has been warning voters against, saying Johnson's deal with the United States would lead to the destruction of the country's cherished public health service.
You're going to sell our national health service out to the United States and Big Pharma.
That's something Johnson has denied.
This is an absolute invention.
But even if Jeremy Corbyn has been trying to steer the debate towards other issues, and although a recent terrorist attack has made security a major talking point in the campaign, Brexit remains centre stage. The Labour Party is campaigning for a second referendum.
Very clear, 3 months to negotiate, 6 months for a referendum, and that will bring that process to an end.
And a cluster of smaller anti-Brexit parties are unifying to fight against Conservative constituencies. Johnson has his own allies, like the smaller Eurosceptic Brexit Party.
The Brexit Party will not contest the 317 seats the Conservatives won at the last election.
For now, the odds seem in Johnson's favour. He's leading in the polls, but if the stakes for the Prime Minister are high, they're even higher for the country. The result of this election may shape British and European politics for years to come.